What does a blueprint for healing look like for a partner navigating the aftermath of intimate betrayal? Welcome to Hope and Healing Chats. I'm your host, Monifa Ellis-Addie, and today we're joined by Tammy Gustafson, author of the powerful new book, Broken to Brave, a true roadmap for recovery. But first, before we go any further, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Welcome to the show, Tammy.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, and I'm excited about this book. Thank you for giving me the preview, a little sneak peek.
Absolutely.
It is the first book that I've read where it's you have your personal experience, clinical experience, and then you have your own research that you've layered into there also. And I am always looking for resources. I'm kind of like, why isn't this book out already? Because I already have clients in my head where I could be giving this out to them. I want to know more about what was the process of you, especially, well, we'll get into the phases later, but like the process of you getting this whole thing together.
Oh gosh, well, it has been years in coming.
No.
This, it's really a culmination of my clinical work and working with betrayed partners, and then also my personal experience. And it's so interesting as a counselor, as a coach, we get to see the patterns that come up.
Yeah.
That when I was going through it personally, I had no idea. Like, I had no idea that there were patterns. I had no idea that there was a way through. I had no idea that there were certain areas that would help, or certain areas I could get stuck along the way. But, we know as counselors and coaches that there are that. So like, as I started to see this come up and being like, man, I want to share this because this is what I wish I would have had when I went through it, especially the idea that where I'm at makes sense. And there is a path through, not a single razor sharp path, but there is a way through to get there, to get to the other side. I don't even like that term, but I use it, right? And so this was inside of me for many years. And so it was a whole process of, the book writing process is its own deal in and of itself. But I'm so thankful that it is now at the point where I can share it and offer it to others.
And you can really tell that it took years because as clinicians, like we see the patterns and you mapped out every pattern so like perfectly. Which brings you to the phases, because as we know, and I tell everyone, and I'm sure you do, this is not linear, right? You want it to be linear, but it is not linear. But the way that you wrapped up the 4 phases, reveal, rumble, realign, and rebuild, I know it's not linear, but it felt so linear. It felt, because I was like, you see these patterns when you're in our seat, like this is what we actually see. Like, how are you able? And I also noticed, that the first 3 have like 3 sections under it, and then the last one only has 1. I noticed. So I definitely want to know more about that.
Yeah, I feel like the last section could have used more time and love and pages. As I look back, there's always things you're like, man, I wish I would have said more about that. There's so much more to say about phase 4. But the phases really follow the journey that a betrayed partner goes through with the person who betrayed her. And so I think the phases are different. There's a lot of phases out there, right? There's a lot of stages out there, but a lot of them are kind of pulling her out and looking at her healing within it. And I thought for me, what felt more true to my story is that there was a lot of my own healing, but man, I was sure interacting with my husband along the way. And so it's really kind of following the path that we see. Now, it's not linear in the sense, especially if he relapses. Like if he relapses, all bets are off. You're back at phase 1, right?
Or another discovery, or
another discovery, exactly. And so just to kind of clarify in a nutshell, maybe not a nutshell, but what the phases are. Like that first phase is discovery, disclosure. It's where life blows up and suddenly you realize that this secret betrayal is happening, or maybe not so secret, but now it really comes out in full force. So that whole first phase, that reveal, is all about getting the truth. What did he do? What is the truth I'm dealing with? And so where I kind of see the shift from phase 1 to phase 2 is one when you either get the full truth or you realize that he is never going to give you the full truth. And like, that's just your reality, is that he is not going to give it to you. And now I say he and her, like
Hmm.
my audience is primarily women. But of course I want to acknowledge that there are a lot of betrayed partners who are men and who are also hurting. But for the sake of this conversation, so it's either when you have the full truth or when you're like, I am not going to get the full truth. That is kind of the transition into phase two. And then phase two is that messy middle where you're not sure if you're going to stay or go. You're not sure if he's doing the work or not. You're trying to find your voice, stepping into your boundaries. You are grieving. The emotions are intense as they are in phase one. Um, and so there's a lot, it's this, oh man, it's this long wrestling part.
Yeah.
And there is absolutely a lot of overlap between phase one and two, especially with the emotions. So like you said, it's not clear cut, dry,
Yeah.
linear. It really isn't. You can be straddling the different phases at
Hmm.
different times. But phase three is when you get to that point where you have a pretty good idea where the relationship is headed. And that just comes over time and that comes over experiences. And it's just like, you're like, it's becoming pretty clear where we're headed. Like whether that's, I see three paths in that. Whether
Mm.
that's the relationship is healing, where he's done a lot of good work and you want to stay. So that could
Yeah.
be kind of that redemption path. Then there's the path of divorce, of like he's not doing good work, or you're like, I'm choosing this is not the right path for me. Or like a lot of women, most women don't want to get divorced, but they get to the place where they're like, I just can't. He is not doing the work. And for my sake, I have to separate and leave. And then there's this middle path that I think is the one that doesn't get a lot of airtime. And that's a roommate phase, what I call it, or
Hmm.
roommate path. And that's where he is not doing great work. He might have done some work. But you also don't want to leave. For a lot of, there's no shame or judgment in that. A lot of times
Yeah.
it's finances or kids, but like it is not in your best interest to leave the relationship, and he's not doing fantastic work. And so that's that middle roommate path. And then the fourth one that probably could have used more pages in the book is it's this organic shift that all women come back together, no matter how their relationship ends or doesn't end
Mm-hmm.
or heals. But there's often women will come into my office and there's just this organic shift where it's like, I need to focus on me. Like the focus stops
Yeah.
being on the relationship, stops being on him, and being like, I have got to heal. And so that fourth phase is all about rebuilding, picking up the pieces, and then also, but looking forward and going, I have one life to live. How do I want the rest of my life to go? I did not choose for this to be part of my story. I did not choose for life to break up and shatter. But now, here I am. And now, how do I create a life and a future that I'm excited about living?
Thank you for wrapping it up in nice little bow of the phases. And one part that you touched on, it made me think of when you're saying that sometimes whatever the cost is for whatever reason, leaving this may not be in their best interest. What I always say to clients when they're still focused on what are they doing or trying to get them to do something, and they're like consistently not doing it. It's like, okay, well, you can't pull water from an empty well. So how do you want to live your life? How do we put into your well in a way where you're not looking for him to put into your well? Because you elaborated on that. And I feel like that's a section that as clinicians and coaches, we don't really talk a lot about. It's always stay or go. And it's like, well, for a lot of people, that's not really what it is. It's not just stay or go. Like, what does that actual middle point look like? And I appreciated the fact that you spent time like really diving into that.
Yeah, I think it's such an important piece because I think actually a huge percentage are in this middle ground.
And you can have a fulfilling life, just like having that acceptance of this is what that is and this is what I'm going to do. Also, with that being said, this book can kind of come for, some books are for, when they're in the beginning and the crisis stage. And then there's not much resources for like the later stages. Most of them are actually really focused on the crisis stage. Yours, I feel like anyone can pick it up at any stage, no matter where you are in your recovery. I imagine that was intentional.
Yeah, it was very intentional because I think this whole my intention was to show the whole journey, right? And to include all betrayed partners in there, no matter where they're at. Because you're right, a lot of the help and the resources drop off
Yeah.
once you hit about phase 3. There is some for those couples that are healing. Actually, there's quite a bit for those who are healing. There's not the divorce. It's like the divorce just kind of fades into divorce care or whatever the case
Yes.
may be. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like there has to be more specialized, nuanced help with that. But there is also that grief of that betrayal that is still there. And the trauma of a divorce is another way. I mean, it's just compound grieving for
Yeah.
those there. But I also really wanted to catch those who are in that middle phase, that roommate stage, and just go that I see you, I hear you. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just kind of get to the point where they're just like, well, this is just what life is, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the main thing I wanted to catch with this group in the roommate phase is one, this is a group I'm most worried about because their lights can dim. And that to me is the most tragic thing
Yeah.
that could happen out of this whole scenario. So I want to be like, nope, we want to catch you. We don't want your lights to dim. But then the other one is that you can have, like you said, you can have an absolutely fulfilling life. It's just going to look different.
Yeah.
And I did an interview with a woman who navigated this beautifully. It was painful. It was hard work for her, but man, she has a light and a lightness and a joy and a groundedness about her that is utterly beautiful. And she is right in the middle of that. And so I wanted to also give people that picture of you can still thrive.
Which I thought was really cool. Like, oh, you have an actual person doing it, and this is what that looks like. That's another thing. Like, no one's really talking about it, so then we don't even know what that example even looks like. Like, is that possible? And we're, like you said, most of the time, that's when, if not cared after, that's where they start getting numb inside. Their lights dim, and this is just what life is, but not in a this is what life is happy way. It's like a depression of this is just what life is. Moments of the book, you check in like in a personal way where it's like, stop. That was a lot of information. How are you taking care of yourself? Which I thought was so cool because it's like, oh, she's talking to me. Like, hand me in the room with me. How did you come to make that decision of like, because it's throughout the book and it's random and how'd you know where to put those in the book?
I put them there because as I was writing, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much and this is so heavy. So I was like, it was part just that own intuition. And also, I carry betrayed partners with me in my head and heart. And so just feeling like if I'm feeling this, that's probably what they're feeling. And I think we all just need a break right now. So let's just pause and regroup. And I'm actually so grateful I did that because I'm in the middle of recording the audiobook right now.
Oh,
And let
so
me
for
tell you, there are
yourself.
times where I'm like reading through and then I'm like, oh, hallelujah. Okay, we're pausing.
Like, oh, you thought ahead. You're helping yourself
Yeah.
out. You didn't even know it.
And they are. Like, I just got done a couple of days ago doing part of it. I was like, this is a really random place, but I'm sure glad it's here.
Because there's times I'm reading it and I'm just like, well, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna stop and check in with myself right now. Like that was, and because also, especially because we see so much of it, you know, and then just reading it, it's almost like, wait, that was a lot of information. Like that was really heavy. This was like 20 pages on divorce. Like this is heavy, or the crisis, or whatever the kid. Like, okay, stop and breathe. And also, what I love about it is you're integrating self care, right? Because isn't that like the bread and butter of partner recovery is self care, self care, self care, and many times that kind of falls to the side. So it's almost like you're integrating their research in their own healing and then throwing in self care in there at the same time.
Yeah. And to be honest, I have a love-hate relationship with the term self-care. I know as a therapist, I'm not supposed to say that, but
I'm
I'm
reporting
like,
you.
oh, but I know for me, when I was going through this and I heard the
Yeah.
term self-care, I was like, are you doing enough self-care? I'm like, no, I'm not doing enough self-care. Like, oh, another thing I'm failing at. Like, of course I'm not doing enough
Yeah.
self-care. And so I say all that because it's true. Like, but I guess how I came to view it, and I don't remember if this is actually the term I used in the book, but it's more that it's that relationship with ourself that is what I'm most passionate about, is like whatever is going to help your relationship with yourself. Great. We can call that self-care. Um,
Mm-hmm.
are bubble baths going to help? Well, they're lovely, but probably not. It's probably
Yeah.
going to be a lot
Yeah.
deeper of like the care for like me. After I got done reading the audiobook the other day, I was like, oh, this is heavy. So I went, my biggest form of self-care is indoor skydiving because that's what I
Oh,
love. It brings
nice.
me
Yes.
passion. It brings me joy. So I called up iFly on the way home. I'm like, you got 10 minutes. I need to get in the wind. Like, it's just being aware of where you're at and where your body is and what will help you kind of catch yourself. So whatever that looks like for those listening,
Yeah.
go for it.
And actually, it's funny you said, because you mentioned that in the book, I Fly. I was like, wait, I like indoor sky. I forgot that I liked indoor skydiving.
You like
I
indoor
was like, I used to
skydiving?
love doing that. I'm no longer in LA, but when I was in LA, I would do it all the time. And I said, oh my God, I forgot about that. I was
Oh,
like,
that
note
makes
to
me
self.
so happy.
Yeah, we got to get that back in, get that self care back in.
Absolutely.
Another thing, which I thought was very interesting, as we know, many times partners get hyper focused on their recovery. What are they doing? Which I get it because it does affect them, absolutely. But then they let themselves fall to the wayside sometimes. So I liked how you actually did include a chapter just on this is actually what good recovery looks like, because many times they don't know, and then maybe nothing's being shared with them and they're like, are they doing the things, or maybe they're checking off the boxes of group, therapist, sponsor. And I always say those are things that need to happen regardless if you're in a relationship or not. Like, what does the actual relational good stuff look like? And I appreciated you putting it towards like the middle. It wasn't in the beginning. I was like, oh, she buys you in. She makes sure you're in this book first before you just focus right on this. So yeah, what was the decision around that? And I think you did, yeah, it was very succinct how you put it all together, and you made it kind of short and sweet, but very full at the same time.
Again, going back to when I was going through this, I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know I didn't know which way was up. And it's like I was so focused on my husband, on what he
Yeah.
was doing and what he wasn't doing. Like this whole like do self-care throughout the mix. That is fantastic. I did not start really caring for myself till years in. I was late. So for all of those who are like, "Oh, I shouldn't be so focused on him." Well, let me tell you, that's just normal. That's
Mm-hmm.
normal. Like I say this in the book, one of the most common questions I think I had for our counselor, I was like, what is going on with him? Like, you
Yeah.
have to help me understand what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And this is such a counterintuitive process of healing. Like, healing from betrayal is so counterintuitive that I wanted to give betrayed partners a picture of like, hey, here's what you are looking for. And it's not just sobriety. Sobriety is not the finish line, it's the starting line, right?
Yeah.
And so here's what you're looking for, because what we're looking for is safety. What we're looking for is healing. What we're looking for is, when is it safe to lean back in? Is this possible? Is he even a person I want to stay with? Like,
Yeah.
and so I thought it was very important to paint a picture of, hey, if you're seeing these things, you can be like, okay, all right,
Mm-hmm.
I good. I want to see more of that. But also, what maybe even is more helpful sometimes is going, and here's the signs that he's not
Yeah.
in good recovery. Because
Yeah.
I joke about, well, joke, I don't know if I joke, but I say it is crazy. And Monifa, I'm so curious if you've seen this as well, but it's like there is a book that all men who are not in good recovery
Yeah.
read from. They all say the
Yeah.
same
And you
things.
and you said the same things in there, and I was like, why isn't this book out? I need to get
Uh,
this to some clients, because it's the same script line by line,
it
and I liked how
is.
you labeled it, because it's gaslighting to a certain degree, like, and you labeled it slight gaslighting, and I was like, that felt better because it doesn't feel complete, but it's enough for them to feel like, oh, they're doing it, or it's I need to be doing more to be helping them, or whatever the case may be, or when they start using the therapy talk as a way to make it seem like they're doing it. So yeah, no, it's the
Mhm.
same playbook, which is really strange, but yes, it's the same playbook.
It is strange. And I mean no disrespect. I am not a partner basher at all, but I mean no disrespect, but it's true. Like
Yeah.
I've heard the same phrases from men of all around the world, all
Mm-hmm.
different socioeconomic status, all different religious backgrounds. And so this is one of those things that I'm like, we have this knowledge. I want you to know it for those who are listening so it speeds up the process, right?
Yeah.
And so you know as well, because in the midst of it, you have no idea. That was certainly the case for
Yeah.
me.
What I like so much about you capturing that in the book is because when I'm working with clients one on one, I'm telling them it. But of course, like, it's just me saying it. No one else is there to even catch it or anything. So it doesn't really hold much water. Like it takes a while before it actually does. Now you having it in a book, it's like, hey, here's this book. It's talking about exactly that experience. I didn't just pull this out of nowhere because they look, of course, naturally you want to, they want to believe their partner is doing good work. Why wouldn't you? Like you're with this person. So I understand it. But when we hear those certain phrases, it's like, okay, wait, the bell goes off. Like they're in cognitive distortion land. This is not actually good recovery. It's hard to really communicate that in a way where, because breadcrumbs, like they want to fill up on breadcrumbs. I'm almost like you're still starving after a breadcrumbs. It's not satisfactory. So this book will be very helpful. And me, I feel like when we start working together, I'm just going to be like, here, I need you to get this book. Like as soon as, and then my clients that are even further along, I'm going to have them get the book also because it's really, really, really helpful. Shifting gears a little bit, Betrayal Conference that you have every year. It kind of blows my mind how big it actually is. There will be clients that I never even mentioned it to, and I'll forget that it's that week, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I was watching the Betrayal Conference all day," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, like that's good." Or when I did it, they're like, "Oh, my husband saw you on the." I'm like, "He did? Okay, nice." So please talk about the Betrayal Conference because it is starting and definitely want to put that out there for people to, get in and sign up.
So yeah, today's the first day, January 26th, and so y'all are so welcome to come join. So my heart for the conference was a couple fold. Is I picture this big open field where I just want to gather. I just want to create a safe place, a safe gathering place of gathering betrayed partners from all around the world and gathering safe speakers, because the reality is nobody prepares you for betrayal. When it
Yeah.
happens, you have no idea where to look. You have no idea who is going to be helpful or hurtful. And so my goal is just to gather and create this safe space of this 5-day conference, where I handpick all the speakers and I interview everybody. And the goal is to, one, help betrayed partners know that they are seen, that they are validated, but then also to give some really strong guidance from some of the best, most powerful voices who are out there talking about this. And so the conference is free because I want everyone to have this. And the way I structure it is like every morning, all of the interviews go out for that day, and then you have 24 hours to listen to it, because we have people. Last year there was 120 countries around the world who were tuning
Wow.
in, and because I want this to get into all those places where people are alone and they maybe don't have the resources and they maybe don't have therapists or betrayal sensitive or partner sensitive helpers that they can tap into. I want this to be a lifeline. I also want them to help see, like, hey, this is how at least I believe recovery goes best. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to help lay a foundation of saying, hey, we are going to empower you. This is not your fault. And we are going to help you get your voice and your strength. And we're going to give you some really deep insights and next steps. And then if people want to purchase all access pass, they can do that and keep them for a year or have access for a year. But my heart is, I want to reach out and catch every betrayed partner that I can and get them back on their feet and let them know they have worth and value and let them know there is a way through. It is possible to heal. And the conference is just one way that they can tap into that.
especially because the experience can be so isolating. And especially in these areas, because I've worked with people in Europe, Italy, England, and the resources are not the same as it is here. It's actually very quite slim, and they run into a lot of judgment when they do talk about it or trying to get treatment or anything. Like, it's rough out there. So these kind of resources, especially being free, is so vital to the community because it just lets them know around the world, like, you're not alone. Like, there's so many other people dealing with it. And so much to the point where there's professionals, because it's not like you're having 2 or 3 people talk. But how many do you have this year?
This year, I think there's about 32.
Like 32 professionals. Like, you're definitely not alone. And there's more than that. But this is just, like you said, it's the cream of the crop, basically, that you have come to the conference. Like, that's a big deal. So it's really, really powerful work. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would love to have everyone join us.
Yes.
It's going to be good.
Tammy, thank you so much for joining us. And if you'd like to get your copy of Broken and Brave or get more information about Tammy, click on the links in the description below. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to stay updated. And as always, remember to embrace your healing journey. Every step forward brings a new hope for tomorrow. See you next time.